Hello Nintendo, we here, welcome to episode 26 of Retro Gamer Week. As you might have seen recently, Galaga is going to destroy the world.
I believe that some alien life force sent down real-life video games to attack us.
But did you know they've actually already attempted to destroy it 3 times in the past? Yes, this is Galaga 88, the third sequel to the arcade classic Galaxian. Before I get on to Galaga, I just want to talk about Galaxian. It was actually one of the first games I ever played. Way back when we got our computer in 1995. It came on floppy disk. It had Galaxian, it had Dig Dug, Pole Position, Sinistar, maybe Robotron. All of those amazing classics, and Galaxian was one of the ones that I always kept going back to. Me and my dad used to fight over high scores on it all the time. But obviously, since Galaxian came out, Namco wanted to improve the game, so they came up with Galaga. And Galaga does have a lot of improvements compared to Galaxian. For one thing, the enemies fly around the screen in a much more intricate way than they used to. And after that, there was another sequel called Galapus, which I have never actually played, but I do know of. And then finally, the game we have here on the PC Engine, Galaga 88, which was obviously made in 1988, and is an incredible improvement over the previous Galaga game. This game begins pretty much identically to Galaga, until you realise there's a lot more variety in the enemies. Some of the enemies are twice the size of normal ones, some of them explode when you shoot them, some of them don't die after one shot, and you have to keep shooting them continuously until they finally die. But that's not the only thing that's improved in this game. The graphics are far superior to the 1982 Galaga. As well as that, in between levels there's also bonus rounds, which for some weird reason are actually dancing stages. Yes, the enemies actually dance around. And you also get a bonus if you just watch them dance, which is very, very weird indeed, and they don't attack you at all. And then after that you get to a bit which I was really surprised to see actually. It turns into a vertical scroll and shoot 'em up, albeit a very basic one. And then once you get to the top of that, then it turns back into the standard single screen shooting game that you all know and love, or hopefully love. And then once you die, it actually shows you your progression, kind of like other arcade games at the time, like Outrun, for example. The way it shows you going through the map, it actually shows you how far you've managed to get in the game. And every time I've played it so far, I haven't got very far at all. I was kind of confused at first. On the title screen, there is an option for a 2-player mode, or what I thought was a 2-player mode, but it actually turns out that you control 2 ships at the same time. This makes the game slightly easier, but once you lose your ship, I can't find a way of getting it back. So really, you only get the extra ship for like the first 2 stages until you get hit. And if you get hit once, then you've lost it. And if you get hit twice, then you have to restart that area. There's also some other really interesting mechanics to this game. Every so often you can destroy these blue blocks that appear, and they drop like little pellets. If you pick that pellet up and you collect 2 of them, you actually go into this thing that's like a warp drive, which actually shoots you off into a future level or into another part of the game. So although this game was released in 1988 for the arcade and the PC Engine got a port of it, it was actually ported to a few other systems as well. It was actually ported to the TurboGrafx in America under the name Galaga 90, and as far as I can tell it's exactly the same as this, just got released 2 years later. And it also came out on the Sega Game Gear the year after in 1991, and surprise, surprise, it was called Galaga 91. In Europe, it was actually called Galaga 2, even though this is the 3rd sequel. So I guess that's why I've never heard of Galapus, because it was never officially released here. Galaga is one of the all-time classic arcade games, and this game's just as much fun to play now as it was back then. It's incredibly challenging and incredibly rewarding once you actually manage to get through it and progress further and further into the game. It is a game of memorization as well as skill, so you will end up replaying the same areas over and over and over and over again until you pretty much memorize the enemies' patterns. You memorize which enemies are easier to kill, which ones are easier to avoid. It's just so much fun. The controls are spot on, especially on the PC Engine. You can just flick up that turbo switch, hold down the 1 or the 2 button, and just shoot away. There is still a bit of a delay because you're only allowed 2 bullets on the screen at the same time, but having that option, especially for the dancing bits where all the enemies come down the front, you can just flick that switch up, stay in one place, hold it down, just kill them all without even thinking about it. It is a lot of fun. Obviously since then there's also been a lot of new Galaga and Galaxian games, but for me none of them hold the same appeal as the originals, and out of the originals this is probably the best that I've played. Apart from Galaxian, that always holds a special place in my heart as one of the first games I've ever played. One of the first games I really got into. So thanks for watching, that was episode 26. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, NintendoWii, and check out my website, nintendowiiu.com, which I haven't updated for a while, but hopefully I'll get around to doing that soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.